So now hopefully you're starting to wake up a little bit. So let's see, well, you know, this and that, whatever, they don't need you. Okay, well, they do and they don't, right? From an absolute perspective, does UFC or any one particular fighter need me, need a CNM? No. So from an absolute perspective, you know, the UFC, Strikeforce, any of these fighters, no question they don't need us. They don't need us. They're doing just fine without us. However, can they use us? Are we helpful marginally to them? Absolutely. Unless you think, you know, an audience of millions in the target demo isn't helpful, I don't know what to tell you. And we've shown that with our videos and stuff like that. You know, but vice versa. We don't need any particular promotion or any particular fighter either. I can see our biggest MMA video ever, I have to double check it, whatever like that, was me sitting here with my shirt off talking about Brock Lesnar, whatever like that. You know, and Paul will talk about this in a second. I don't need to go anywhere. I don't need to interview anyone. I don't need to promote anyone else's event, anyone else's pay-per-view, gym, nothing. I can just sit here and talk about, you know, certain fighters or do certain things. If I even want to talk about MMA, which I don't need to do that either, because I can sit here. If we want to talk about, you know, fighting sports, I can sit here and talk about the Pacquiao fight coming up every single day, multiple times a day, and every one of those videos will probably do way better than the average MMA video. That, in my personal opinion, is the bottom line. And you may not like that, but that's what's up. So me going out and doing MMA stuff is my actually really love for MMA and liking MMA, enjoying certain fighters, and making an investment in what I think hopefully will pay off something maybe in the long-term future. It's I won't call it charity work, but it's like, you know, I love the sport too. Now, let's look at the broader perspective of what does that all really mean? What did I really just say there? What I really just said there is, like, if you're the average MMA fighter, so maybe I should have put this in the beginning, but there's just so many different things going on. Because it goes back to exactly what I said in the beginning, which is the bottom line for this sport is you need to sell pay-per-views, you need to sell tickets, you need to sell merchandise, you need to get ratings on TV, which brings in advertising dollars. That's it. So you take someone like myself, who has a big audience, who knows how to deliver stuff, and let's just stop the tape on that kind of stuff for two reasons. One, I was world-class, national world-class in 3 strength and combat sports. Unfortunately, none of which paid. Why? Because for whatever reason here in America, in my personal opinion, they may not have been entertaining enough to generate fan base or TV contracts, you know, and a marketable audience, an audience that will pay to see it. So, believe me, I know how this works, okay? Number one. Number two, from a broadcast perspective, I've had my own national TV show that I've hosted. I've worked the news desk at CNN. I've had my own talk radio shows, and I've been a regular guest on national talk radio shows. You think you know better than me about how to be entertained, about media, about reporting, about broadcast? Stop. Okay? With very, very few exceptions. Okay? So, that's what's and listen, no matter what you think, forget about the resumes, forget about the credentials, forget about all that. Our audience proves it. That's the metric. That's the only metric that matters. Now let's get back to the fighters. Let's get back to the business of MMA. My goal is to get these fighters, get people interested in them. Get people interested in their next event, their next pay-per-view, their next book deal, their next t-shirt, their next all that type of stuff. So from that perspective, they need me a lot more than I need them, because I can do all kinds of other stuff that I guarantee you will get me and conservative media way more hits than talking to any one of them. But the marginal audience that I can bring them are very probably highly focused on either MMA or them as a fighter, and are therefore, in my personal opinion, pretty darn amenable to being excited about whatever next thing they have. And guess what? As an MMA fighter, for most cases, for many cases, your career isn't that long, particularly at the top. And there are a bunch of different expenses, whether it's training or medical or stuff like that, that comes along with it. And therefore, you need to, and I was talking to one fighter, and I'm not going to name names, who got this, who understood it. You need to make as much, because again, I've trained professional athletes and been around them. Okay, I'm talking Major League Football, Major League Baseball, and stuff. You know, I've seen people make a ton of money and use it and manage it and invest it wisely, and I've seen a lot of the opposite. So believe me, you know, it's great when you're making the big money, but there's only a short, narrow period of time that you're going to be able to make it, and then what happens then? You know, for most of these pro athletes, there is nothing they're ever going to be able to do in their life once they're done being a pro athlete that will make anything close to what they're making now. So you need to maximize that marketability. You need to maximize those dollars right now. And we help them do that. And if you as a fighter or whatever, if you're not media friendly, if you don't like to do interviews, you're not hurting me. I don't care. I got 20, 30 other fighters I can interview, and I don't need to interview any of them. It's not hurting me. It's not hurting my pocketbook. It's not hurting anything. I don't care. It hurts you. And if you don't get that, or your fanboys don't get that, that's your problem. You know? I mean, I have my law degree from an elite, university. I have my work experience. I can go do a bunch of other things. Doesn't matter to me. I can go talk about all kinds of, I can sit here and talk about, and I'm not going to tell you what the subjects are, but I mean, believe me, I used to be, a venture capital. I've studied this stuff. I've studied what we're doing now from a level of analysis that you couldn't even dream about, okay? Straight up. And I can sit here and talk about 5 different subjects that I guarantee will get me more hits than any MMA subject. And that's the bottom line. I don't need it. It doesn't matter to me. I do it because I care about these guys. I love the sport. I love the whole situation, whatever like that. I'm not above the sport or anything like that. I'm helping these guys. So, perfect example. The video with Caio Terra. First of all, I made myself basically like I was pumped out there, and he just whipped up on me. Now, number one, do I doubt he can whip up on me? No. At the same time, I'm no slouch. If I get some injuries healed up and start doing some stuff, whatever like that, I'm sure that being how much bigger and stronger than him that I am, that, I might be able to give him a run for something, whatever like that. But, whatever. The point is, and third most importantly, I was basically a demo dummy. I sat there and let him do whatever moves on me because he was showing some other people some moves. It's fine. But the point is, to make a great video, I pumped myself. Yeah, look, I'm big and strong, and he whipped up on me. That gets him over. You don't even see him in the video. It gets him over. For most people, most MMA fans, you never heard of this guy before, in my personal opinion. It gets him over. Okay? Now, when you're sitting at home, let's say you like MMA, this and that, whatever, you're thinking, wow, that guy's cool. I want to Google him. Wow. We put the link to his website there. As we did with all our videos. Here's a link to this gym or that gym or this, all that type of stuff. And we're going to go back and do more of it. We're so busy with the stuff like that. It also makes you think of, hey, guess what? I can go train with Caio and Cesar Gracie. I can go train with Caio over here if you're in the Bay Area. And you might do that. That's called commerce. So I punked myself out to get him over. It's about getting over. And I'll leave you with this, and I'll get Paul in here, and I know he'll have a lot to say. The point is that, to show you, in my personal opinion, prove to you exactly what I said, I'll give you 2 things. 3 things. In my personal opinion, when I was growing up, the biggest box office attraction in boxing below heavyweights was Oscar De La Hoya. Unbelievable. Even at his best, in my personal opinion, he was not the best boxer, but he was by far the best box office draw. Okay? Number 1. Number 2. There are plenty of fighters, I'm not going to name names. You have your opinion on them, and I have my opinion on who they may be. who are fantastic, have unbelievable records, who I have great admiration for. But for a variety of reasons, either the way they fight, or maybe they're not media friendly, or maybe they're just not exciting or have the charisma, whatever it is, they're not as exciting to watch. So you're not as excited to buy the pay-per-view, you're not as excited to buy their merchandise and all that. They're not over. Doesn't matter what their record is, they're not over, or over enough. That's why when you see some of these, pay-per-view buys, it's at a certain level, and you see Brock Lesnar or someone else, it's through the roof. Brock's over. And surprise, surprise, where does Brock come from? A lot of MMA fans like to make fun of professional wrestling. Well, he understands how to get over. Whether you love him or hate him, you're watching. That's what's up. Okay? If you don't get that, you are a mark. And that's fine. We need lots of marks. I mean, just like every sport, every promotion needs a bunch of marks like that. I mean, I need people thinking that I'm the greatest thing in the world, whatever like that, and watching all our videos. I mean, I think I'm great, but I mean, I'm just a dude. You know what I mean? That just does videos, whatever like that. I mean, everything I've said about myself, in my personal opinion, is true, but at the same time, I sit here thinking that, geez, did I waste my law degree? Did I do this, whatever? I'm just a dude. No different than the NFL loves to have people go out there who'll sit outside, in 20 below degree weather with their shirts off, painted all up as their favorite team. Call them a fan, it's also kind of a mark. Nothing wrong with that, that's fine. No different than someone that'll sit outside a Justin Bieber concert for a day or two waiting for a ticket. That's kind of a mark. I mean, and that's okay as long as you understand what's up. There's nothing wrong with that, that's fine. And if you still don't believe me, let's go to the last, example. We hear these things of, oh, who was the best, this and that, blah, blah, is it Pride, it's Strikeforce, it's Heavyweights, UFC, this, blah, 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 and UFC owns pretty much all the major stuff in MMA right now to own, in my personal opinion, and that's cool. It's great business. That's what Dana White's smart. You think Dana White doesn't understand this? Oh, he understands this. You think that the Fertittas don't understand this? Believe me, they understand this. Okay? Well, let's talk this, in other words, I'm going to prove to you right now that this is not about who the best MMA person is, in my personal opinion. This is about promotion. Now, being really, really good at MMA and being able to do things other people can't do is clearly a critical part of that. But, perfect example, Tough, The Ultimate Fighter. Well, John, what do you mean by that? Right. Highly rated show. Makes a lot of money. A lot of viewers. What's the whole premise of the entire show? What is the whole premise? The entire premise of the show is, here's some people that maybe, at least for most of the shows, not for people that are already pros and there's special series, but for most of the shows, from what I understand, maybe I'm getting it wrong, here's some people that may be on the bubble, may or may not be good enough, may not even be good enough for the UFC, and we'll take the winner, the one winner, and give that one winner a contract. But you're watching everybody else who some of them may not even make the UFC. And yet it's highly rated. Why? Because it's shot, it's produced, and it's promoted well. And if it wasn't, you wouldn't watch it. So don't ever tell me this is just about who the best MMA person is, this and that, whatever, and the purity of the sport, whatever like that. It's business. Check into that. So, the net, from what I'm concerned, I want Paul's thoughts, is that you can watch me, you can like me, not like me, this and that, whatever. The fact that we have the views that we have, the fact that so many of our videos get placed to other people, and they have people loving me and hating me, whatever. Listen, from a broadcast perspective, if I can split the audience in half of people that love me and hate me, that's perfect. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. And if you don't know that, you don't know anything. So, I don't care if you love me, hate me, call me names, whatever like that, just watch.